Commander Zeftal's forearms trembled as she activated the quantum communicator, her bioluminescent patches flickering with distress patterns across her translucent skin. The Valeth mining colony of Kepler 442c had been under siege for 3 standard cycles, and their defensive grid was failing. The Korthak raiders had arrived with overwhelming force, their dark ships blotting out the twin suns. "This is Mining Colony 77 Alpha to any receiving station," she broadcast into the void, her voice echoing through the command center's crystalline walls. "We are under attack by Korthak raiders. Civilian population at risk. Request immediate assistance." The response came faster than expected, crackling through subspace with surprising clarity. The voice was rough, gravelly, speaking in the common galactic tongue with an accent she'd never heard before. "Colony 77 Alpha, this is Captain Sarah Chen of the UES Retribution. We're 3 hours out. Can you hold position?" Zeftal's secondary heart skipped. Humans, the Deathworlders. She'd heard whispers about them. The species that had emerged from a Class 12 death world and somehow survived everything their nightmarish planet had thrown at them. Most civilized species avoided them, considering their homeworld too hostile to produce anything but monsters. We can try," Zeftal replied, watching her tactical display as another section of their shields flickered red. "But we have limited defensive capabilities. These are civilians, mostly miners and their families." "Understood. Keep your heads down. Retribution out 3 hours. They just had to survive 3 hours." The Korthak ships pressed their advantage, their plasma cannons carving through the colony's outer structures like heated metal through ice. Zeftal evacuated the outer rings, pulling everyone into the reinforced core facilities. Children cried in their parents' arms while the adults tried to maintain calm, their natural camouflage patterns shifting rapidly with stress. When the humans arrived, they didn't announce themselves with fanfare or demands for surrender directed at the raiders. They simply appeared. The UES Retribution dropped out of hyperspace not at the system's edge, where most civilized species would emerge for safety, but directly within the asteroid field surrounding the colony. Zeftal watched in amazement as the human ship, sleek, predatory, and covered in what looked like scars from previous battles, maneuvered through the debris field with impossible precision. "Korthak vessels," came Captain Chen's voice over open channels. "You have exactly 60 seconds to withdraw from this system before we consider you hostile." The largest Korthak ship, a massive dreadnought, responded with contempt. "Foolish Deathworlders. You are outnumbered 6 to 1. Withdraw or be destroyed." The human captain's laugh was cold. 60 seconds just became 0 seconds. What happened next redefines Zeftal's understanding of space warfare. The Retribution didn't engage in the traditional dance of long-range combat that most species preferred. Instead, it accelerated directly toward the Korthak formation, its engines screaming blue-white fire. As plasma bolts and particle beams converged on its position, the human ship seemed to dance between them, its pilot executing maneuvers that should have liquefied any organic crew from the gravitational forces alone. But humans, Zeftal realized with growing awe, were built differently. The first Korthak cruiser exploded as the Retribution fired a spread of kinetic penetrators. Simple chunks of dense metal accelerated to relativistic speeds. No shields could stop them. No armor could deflect them. They punched through the raider ship like it was made of paper. The second ship tried to flee. The humans launched something Zeftal had never seen before, a swarm of smaller craft that moved like living things, adapting their flight patterns in real time. The Korthak point defense systems, designed to handle predictable missile trajectories, were useless against the chaotic, organic movement patterns of human drones. Within minutes, 4 Korthak ships were drifting hulks. The remaining 2, including the dreadnought, were attempting to retreat when Captain Chen opened communications again. "Korthak Commander," her voice carried the weight of absolute certainty. "You fired on civilians under our protection. In human space, we call that a war crime. We withdraw," the Korthak leader transmitted, desperation bleeding through the universal translator. "We acknowledge defeat." "You misunderstand," Chen replied. "This isn't about victory or defeat. This is about consequences." The Retribution systematically hunted down the fleeing ships. Not quickly, Zeftal noticed, but methodically, like a predator that wanted its prey to understand exactly what was happening. The dreadnought's engines were disabled first, leaving it drifting helplessly while the smaller escort was destroyed. Then came the weapon systems, picked apart with surgical precision. Finally, the life support systems began failing, section by section. "Please," the Korthak commander begged over open channels. "We surrender." "Show mercy." Captain Chen's response chilled Zeftal's ichor. "You showed no mercy to civilians. Deathworlders learned long ago that mercy is earned, not given. And you, Commander, have earned exactly what you're receiving." The Dreadnought's reactor went critical 47 minutes after the engagement began. The explosion was visible from the colony's observation deck, a new star burning briefly in the darkness of space. When Captain Chen finally contacted the colony, her voice had returned to its earlier professional tone. "Colony 77 Alpha, this is Retribution. Threat neutralized. Do you require medical or engineering assistance?" Zeftal found her voice after several moments. "Captain Chen, we cannot adequately express our gratitude. Your people saved thousands of lives today. Just doing our job, Commander. Though I should mention there's a price for our services." Zeftal's blood ran cold. She'd heard rumors about human mercenaries, their brutal efficiency matched only by their greed.
"What?"
"What do you require? Next time you're in human space, stop by New Singapore Station. There's a little restaurant called Chen's Kitchen, my grandmother's place. Try the dumplings. Consider it payment in full." As the Retribution prepared to depart, Zeftal stood at her command center's main viewport, watching the human ship maneuver through the debris field of its own creation. She finally understood why the galaxy whispered about Deathworlders in hushed tones. They weren't monsters because their world was harsh. They were apex predators because they had chosen to be protectors, and the galaxy was learning that there was nothing more dangerous than a human with something to protect. The price of their mercy, she realized, was that they showed none to those who threatened the innocent.